The next feature we're going to go through is creating the to-do list, where you can enter tasks, set due dates, and let them appear here, and clear tasks. So the first thing we're going to do is create a form for people to enter tasks in. So let's create a div for it. We're going to make a form with the post method, and we're going to make labels for enter task and enter task subject. The input type is going to be text, and we're going to make it required. We're going to repeat the same thing for task subject. Now we're going to make a due date. The input type will be date. And lastly, we're going to put a submit button. Now we're going to go add the path for this in main.py. So now what you want to do is create the list that shows up when you enter things in. So as you can see, it appears in an ordered list. So first let's make that list. And we'll give it an ID so we can add it to the JavaScript we'll use later. For task in task. But first we need to set up the Python so we can get the task names from the HTML. So we're going to be receiving the name of the task subject, and the due date of the task from the HTML using get. We're going to make the list of tasks to do a dictionary, and we'll leave it up here. This way it won't be removed every time you refresh the page. We're going to add these into the dictionary. And it's going to be under the task name. So now we're going to go back to the HTML. And we're going to create the drop down button. So the little plus button that you can do to see more details. So the first thing we're going to do is create a label. And we're going to make the label task loop index. And then we're going to make it the task. Oh, let's also write the end for. So the reason why we're doing loop index is it's going to act as a placeholder that keeps getting replaced by the current index of the loop since we're in the for loop. So this way we can go through every task in task. Next, we're going to create a checkbox for the user to check here if it's completed the task. So input type equals checkbox, name equals completed task. And we're going to make the ID the same as this. Then we're going to make the drop down button. So let's make a new div for it. Let's call it drop down. And we're going to make it a button. And we're going to do it on click. So this way, when you click it, it's going to toggle the drop down on and off. And let's just make it a plus button. So we have to do the next to the same reason here. It's going to change the index that we're on in the loop. Then we're going to make a content for the stuff inside the dropdown. So we're going to call it div class equals dropdown content. We're going to use a hyphen here. It's going to be used in the JavaScript later. And let's make it an unordered list. Oh, and since this is a since is an entry in a dictionary, we're going to do task details. So this way we can get the name of the task and also the other information, like the subject and the due date. And we're going to do to do this task, and we're going to look at the items. So here we're going to have the first details, which should be the subject. And then we're going to do this again, and for the second detail, which should be the due date. Oh, and this should also be inside a form. Let's change the indentation. And finally, we need a button for complete task. So when you complete the task, you can click on it, you click on the button, and it should remove the task from your list. So going back to main.py, we're going to make it so when we get the completed task, when you complete a task and you click on completed task, it removes it from the list, from the to-do list. So we're going to remove that entry from the dictionary. So if action equals complete task, completed task. So if there is any kind of completed task, we're going to remove it from the dictionary. Oh, and we also need to send the dictionary itself into the HTML. Now we're going to work on the JavaScript. Make a section for our script. We're going to make a function, which will be this toggle dropdown that we had earlier. Toggle dropdown. Okay. We want to make a variable with this dropdown content. And the content is going to be this. So it's going to be anything that has this ID. So everything inside this div. So basically this is to make sure that when you first load in the page, it's going to be closed. And only when you click it, it's going to open up. So now let's run this. Let's go to to do. Let's enter in a task. Let's add the task. Oh, we made a mistake here. So now the drop down button works. You can click on it and open and close it. And when you press complete task, it's gone.